A broom is rarely sweeping up the broken pieces of yesterday's life. Somewhere a queen is weeping. Somewhere a king has no wife, and the wind cries Mary. Traffic lights turn up blue tomorrow.
Okay, my friends, welcome to this video, and we're going to discuss the concept of something that is known as a pawn nail. And if you look at this diagram here, it illustrates the concept very well. A pawn nail is simply a pawn that has reached either the 6 in the case of white or the 3rd rank in the case of black, and which cramps or hinders the development of one's opponent's pieces, or in many instances provides a basis for an attack. Take a look at this little one here. It's a pawn in the 3rd rank, and it provides a basis for attack. The knight will come here, here to here maybe, and it will be very difficult for white to keep a hold of the c-file. So this is the concept of a pawn nail. It's one of our own pawns that are lodged deep within our opponent's position on the 6th or the 3rd rank. Now the weakness of the pawn nail is that it needs protection from minor and heavy pieces, and it can sometimes be attacked from the side. But we'll take a look at a game now. Romanovsky versus Stravinsky, and we'll see how Romanovsky utilised the pawn nail. Now, in the opening, Romanovsky, he actually sacrifices a pawn for rapid development. It's very interesting. Variation of the Sicilian defence. Here he plays the move c4, offering a pawn sacrifice for fast development. Queen is coming to e5 and will be attacking the pawn and the knight. And black takes the offer. We have bishop to e3 and black takes the pawn. Knight d2 and the queen goes back to e5. Notice that if the queen went somewhere like g6, well, knight is coming to the weakened dark squares and king will be forced to remain in the centre. So, queen e5 was played. Now what is the best way to continue? Well, white chose knight to f3, which is the best, improving the position of the knight with tempo. With queen to c7 and bishop to e2. Knight f6 and double zeros. And this was the best way for white to continue, simply completing his development prior to engaging in some type of attack. And g6. Now let us take a look at this. What can we say about this position? Well, although white is down a pawn, he certainly has some dynamic positional advantage. He's better developed than black. He has 4 minor pieces out to 2 of black. And his king is safer than black's. But if black gets to complete his development in castle, he may realise eventually his material advantage. So with that in mind, white has to act vigorously, and he did so with the wonderful knight to b5. Attacking the precarious position of the dusky maiden here on c7. Queen went to b8, we had queen to d2, and a6 kicking the knight. Now, although it kicks the knight, it leaves these dark squares rather weak, which can be utilised by the bishop and the knight once it comes here to here to here. Notice a move like something like d6 is not very advantageous for black either, because after bishop comes to f4, x-raying the queen, and black tries to complete development. Well, we have the move c5, and it's not easy for black to meet. If he tries to go after the bishop, well, white can simply takes, and the knight comes into the very weak c7 square. King is forced to move, and this is hardly advantageous for black. So suppose a6 was the choice of a lesser evil, as people are wont to say. Knight drop back to c3, bishop to g7, and knight to a4, very strong move, because it threatens the knight coming to the b6 square. And if the rook moves to a7, well, the knight will take, the queen is forced to take, and the rook will be lost. So, black is forced to play queen c7. Knight comes to b6, making use of these weakened dark squares. Rook b8 was played, and knight d5. Knight takes d5, c takes d5, knight e5, and there's no respite for black, because white plays the excellent rook to c1, tempoing the queen. Knight takes f3, bishop takes f3, queen to d8. And here, white utilises this moment to drive this pawn into the heart of the enemy camp with an excellent d6. Here we have our pawn nail. e6 was played in the game. Bishop to h6, which is the best move, because it prevents black from castling. Because if black tries to castle with double zeros, bishop takes, king takes, excellent queen to d4, and this rook is going to get hit after something like this. So bishop h6 was the best move in this position because it prevents black from developing. Queen f6 was played, bishop takes, queen takes. Now I wonder if you can find a beautiful quiet move which black has no real defense to. Take your time if you like. The move that was played in the game, it's beautiful. Queen to e3, a beautiful silent move. Queen, of course, is heading for the a7 square and attacking the rook. And black has no good defense. He tried in the game rook to a8. But the queen went to a7 anyhow, making use of the weak back rank. Look at that. The game actually ended here because if black takes, well, it's checkmate, and you can see the effectiveness of this little pawn nail here on d6. So this is the concept, my friends, of a pawn nail. Having a pawn either on the 3rd or the 6th rank and utilising this either to curtail the development of our opponent's pieces, as was highlighted in the game that we just looked at, or providing some basis for an attack. And perhaps if you come across or you get the opportunity in your own games, you can utilise this very interesting positional concept. So I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this chess video, and I sincerely wish you well with your own chess. Take care and goodbye.
Traffic lights turn all blue tomorrow. Shine their emptiness down on my bed. The tiny island sacks downstream, 'cause the light